Chapter 24, Tempering the Steel. One of the places I hid and could get some respite from the chaos of the family was the basement. Dad had an old bandsaw down there, and we would have to weld the cutting blade back together over and over again. We made furniture on that old thing. Dad taught me how to cut between the legs over and over and then chisel out the inside to make a chair or a table. I wish I would have saved some, but they were just toys and trials. Many times you broke the legs off inadvertently or cut too deep into the tabletop. It was a great way to learn about the wood and how it reacts to cutting and chiseling. Some wood are very hard and others, of course, very soft. Dad made his own chisels out of good screwdrivers. He would shape them into a working model. Then he would heat them up and plunge them into ice-cold water to temper the steel. Then sharpen the blade with a grinder that had a carborundum stone wheel. He told stories about Grindstone City and how the industry was killed by the invention of carborundum. You can go there today and see half-made wheels of grinding stone laying around all forlorn and abandoned. It does look like it took just one day to shutter the whole workforce. Even in the slow-moving thumb of Michigan, life changed on a dime. The outside world did influence and change our lives. Yes, he hired in at Fisher Body as a woodworker, but his forte was metal. His first knuckle was a perfect inch, and he used it often to measure. He could also feel 1/1000th of an inch. When he entered the shop, World War II was on the horizon, and Detroit was gearing up for another war. Fisher Body made tanks. When Dad got there, they could only cut one sheet of cast iron at a time. He and others stayed after work and on lunch breaks to perfect a cutting torch that could cut more than one layer at a time. They were successful in creating a torch that cut 8 layers at a time, and this was a monumental improvement. They called management down to show off their new inventions. Of course, they thought they would be rewarded for their efforts, but war is about money, and there's plenty of money to be made on a new cutting torch. They had attached the new torch to an acetylene tank. When the boys returned in the morning, thinking they were going to be rewarded for their hard work and ingenuity, they were shocked to find their workstation flooded with suits. This is what we called members of management who wore suits. The tank company had sent several suits because they thought since it was their tanks, they owned the new invention. No, said the torch company. They felt it was their invention because it was a remake of their torch. Then Fisher Body said it was theirs since it was their workers. In the end, no one said a word to the boys, and there would be no appreciation. After that, I think Dad started dreaming of leaving the shop. Dad was into flintlock guns, and his friend caught the bug and bought a kit to make his own flintlock. Dad knew it was over Jack's head, and eventually that proved to be true, and Jack realized he could not finish the kit, so he gave it to Dad. Now this was right up my dad's alley. He not only made the gun, but he improved on the gun. He carved out an area in the butt to hold the shot. He smelted the brass, making all sorts of filigree work, a pocket for the shot, and the butt. It was fun to watch him make the brass and heat it red and then pour it into sand molds. He then buffed and cleaned the edges till it was all smooth and shiny. The only mistake he made in the whole operation was that he did not rotate the barrel before setting it in. He was so mad at himself because the numbers on the barrel showed when they should have been hidden underneath. Really bugged him. Next, he did something that really pissed Mother and me off. He gave the gun back to Jack. What? He had worked so hard on the gun, and Mother and I loved it. We had dreams of hanging it over the mantel, showing it off, and fighting it over it when Dad died. But oh no, he gave the damn gun back, and we never saw it again. But now, if I ever run across it, I'll be able to identify it because of the handwork, but also because he forgot to rotate the barrel before setting it into the stock.